All right, let's move to number 5, eating preferences. How, why did you have to laugh? Eating preferences in the first few years of marriage and now, what has changed? Let me start by talking about it. All right, before we got married, I've heard people say, you must eat together with your husband. It shows that you guys are together, you bond. So I was thinking, oh, most of the time we're going to be eating together. And lo and behold, food came. It could be something like yam, and I'm using the fork. My husband would say, "Why are you cutting the yam like this?" Or I'm eating draw soup. Because we're eating from the same bowl. The draw soup, there's no how. It's the angle to my mouth will be kind of far. Like, this is suffering inside my house. I had to voice out like, no, this cannot work. Let me give it to you. See how it gave me side eye.
Yes, okay. I mean, it's part of communication.
Yeah.
So, I think it's eating preferences. It's interesting, really, because when we got married, before we got married, I used to eat beans a lot. And then we got married, I had someone who could do without beans. You understand?
Okay.
And
Beans, I would just be messing every
I
day.
think we talked about, some of the food we liked and all of that. But I thought maybe by the time we get married, there won't be too much restraints in terms of, food. I think now you eat beans better than you used to do.
Because of Fit Farm.
But I eat it like a lot less, maybe 80% less than I used to do. So, things like that we had to, and now I don't even like miss it. So in terms of food and, eating, I think we've made concessions, towards each other's preferences, and we've been able to, move on from that. Then in terms of eating together, I mean, when we got married, I used to travel. I think a year after we got married, I used to travel a lot.
Yes.
So that meant you got used to eating alone, and then, your work also, those early days when you started to work, and sometimes you're on afternoon shift, you're coming back at only God knows when. So I had to make sure that, I ate and all of that. So I think eating together is good when it's convenient. I don't believe in the extreme that, my wife needed to wait for me if I'm coming back at 10 p.m. to eat. I believe in eating early. If you're going to have your dinner, have it latest 8 o'clock. Well, because I don't sleep so early, so I can still eat my dinner sometimes 8:30 thereabout. But I don't believe in, waiting forever for my wife, or maybe my wife waiting forever for me to come before, we eat and all that. So I think that's me.
Good. Let's talk about number 6, compromise. Have we compromised on anything in 10 years? How has it been?
When you say compromise, in what context? Maybe if it's in the context of decision making, conceding to another person's
Yes, that's
thought
what I'm
or
talking
opinion.
about.
Yeah, I think we've been talking about it in terms of finances, in terms of, other aspects of our lives. Yes, so for a relationship to stand, for us to be here, it's because we've been making compromises. So sometimes you come with a viewpoint, even if I don't fully agree. If I see, okay, you've been able to make some points and they are valid, it's okay, why not? Let's go, let's get it done. And the moment I say let's go, let's get it done, I think we always have each other's backing, whether it's a suggestion I brought or what you brought, we go into it, and there are no complaints that, it was you that got us into this and all of that. So we always go in together, and I think that has really helped us.
Yeah.
You understand? It hasn't been like all our decisions have been perfect. No, sometimes we made some decisions and we're like, we should not have made that decision, but then we took full responsibility for it to say, okay, we'll make a better choice next time.
And I think one of the things that causes discord could be when the man makes a decision, suggested a decision, and or will I say suggested something, and they ran with it. The wife and the husband ran with it, but it didn't go too well. And the wife now comes to say, it was you. If we had not done this, we wouldn't have been in this mess. At that time, the man's ego, the man's thought is not even is unhappy about the situation already, and the wife is also making him feel less important at that time. It could go the other way. The wife could suggest, and it should be a joint responsibility, a joint taking ownership of things. Okay, number 7, planning. Planning, I know we've talked about planning earlier on, but this time planning, how other things apart from finances, how have you been planning?
I remember I think for several years, apart from finances, we talk about our plans in terms of, personal development, in terms of, I remember when we got married, we talked about how many children we wanted to have. We talked about the spacing.
Before we got married.
We talked about it before we got married, but even after we got married, to just make sure that it's not something that had gone, into the wind.
Expo. Before we got married, he even gave us the name of one of our children. So, and we wrote it down. One of the things my husband likes to do is, like the Bible says, write it down. The vision
is for an appointed time.
Wait, no, okay, that's not what I wanted to quote. Okay. Write it down, make it plain, make it plain. Yes. So that an herald can run with it. Yes, that's what I want to quote. Habakkuk.
Yeah.
So he likes that. Even recently, I was talking about something. He said, "Do you have it written down?" So he wrote down the names.
Yeah. So in terms of planning, things that had to do with even the church we were going to attend. We talked about it, so there was no confusion as to are we going to church A or church B. We were clear that when we were in school, we were attending a particular church, but that once we got back to Lagos, this is our church that we're going to attend.
And I was taken aback because let me tell you the story. We met in school, and we were attending a fellowship/church, and the church is a Pentecostal church. So I was thinking,
we were attending
Rema Chapel International Churches of Bomosho. Yeah. So I was thinking that, okay, since we started attending the church, probably when we get married, we're going to be attending Rema wherever. But he said his home church is Baptist. And
I just wanted it to register with you. So because I also know that I've had that from a couple of people where maybe after they get married, we're like, I thought we were going to attend my church, and then but you should be attending my church, and then that leads to
and it looked like something small that could.
Yeah. So I think we talked about that, and I also remember telling you we were not. When we decided or when we discussed about how many children we wanted to have, I remember telling you that no child is missing. You remember? Like if God gives us girls, once we have the number of girls as the number that God had laid in our heart to have, we will not look for anything that is not missing. And if God gives us boys, we just accept whatever it is that God has given us. So I thought that also, made our lives easier. And then when it comes to personal development, when we got back from church, you were telling me about maybe something that you want to, do and all of that. So we take time to plan as much as possible. We don't do many things that upsets the family are not really emergencies. It's just lack of planning. It's lack of foresight to be able to sit down and clearly think through what the plan is. What do I want to do next year? what do I want to spend on next year? What does my wife want to do? What do we need to do about the children? You understand? So, I mean, we make like short, medium, and long-term plans, essentially.
Fantastic. The next one is supporting one another. How has the journey been in 10 years? I've got your back, you've got my back.
I think we've got each other's sides.
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, I'm grateful that God gave you to me.
Hallelujah.
So you've been my number one human support. Of course, you've also, not in terms of physical things alone, also, in terms of spiritual matters as well, you've been a strong, support to me, to the family, and I always thank you all the time, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for taking care of, the children and I and all of that. So because I know it takes a lot, and I always say to my wife and to married women around me that, look, it's only a foolish woman. I mean, it's only a foolish man that will claim, oh, I'm a strong man, I'm this and that, and then you're bullying everyone around you. I'm of the opinion that women are much more stronger than us, because when you look at their role as a mother, their role as a wife, their role in their workplaces, the societal demands placed on women, it's a lot, really. And it takes someone who is, that's why you see many women break down, easily. So it takes someone who is spiritually steadfast and someone who has come to accept the role that God has placed in their hands, to be able to have that understanding and know that, oh, okay, I'm here to support this man, but the man is also actualizing a common goal. So for me, I think having you means that getting a lot of support. Of course, God has also blessed us with a lot of wonderful people who have supported us while we were living in Akure. We had wonderful families in the church that supported us. Now our parents are around us, our family are around us. They also support us one way or the other when we need, their support. So I think it's support is critical, really. Money can't buy support when you need humans. And so to be there for one another in low moments, high moments, I think that has really been good. I know there were times I had some disappointments, earlier on, maybe in my career. You were always there to, give the needed support to keep me going and all of that. And I'm grateful.
Thank you, boss. And talking about my career as well, this man has just been a support. I remember at the start when I was just trying to settle into, coming into, when we got married, we relocated to a different state. So I had to start searching for work all over again.
You came looking for your husband, actually. Your husband was in a different state.
Now you take me there now.
So we did not relocate. You moved to join
I
your
relocated.
Husband. Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's a word.
Yes. Go ahead.
But coming from a paid employment to something that you have to start again, it could be challenging. But this man was supportive. He was telling me, "Don't worry, you will be taken care of." As I was doing some things by the side, he kept pushing, and until I got a paid job, and even after. So all through my career development, if I'm doing a particular project, it will support me. If I'm going for events and all that, support is not only about even giving you physical, giving finances. It even boils down to taking care of the kids. When the man is willing enough to step in and say, "Don't worry, you have an event." It's not easy as married women now to go for events that will go late into the night. It could be my work, it could be an MC job, but My husband, once his work does not clash with it, my husband will step in, and that has been a real big support, that you don't have to worry and say, hey, am I going to miss this opportunity because of that? He has always been a support, and sometimes there could be some jobs that could come along, and I'm like, can I take on this thing? But this person would come and say, you can do it. You have the power to do it.
Can't do it.
You can't do it. We said it in the voice of one of our children. So that is amazing. The support system is just wonderful.